Great.
Yes.
I'm not seeing the agenda.
Oh, you're not?
No.
I wish I knew what kind of advice to give you.
What I had to do last time was go through on the right. You can select the people and you can double click on that person. I think Steve has it set up as a presenter.
So I'm actually on my phone.
Oh.
And
Oh,
it's worked every time in the past. So I can see actually Steve has two screens open.
oh, interesting.
You
So
have your face and the other one just has a an S in it.
it sounds like you're on the people tab and you just want to close that tab.
Well, I'm doing it like I've done it for every other meeting that I've used my phone for. So, which
Huh.
is all the ones I've attended. So,
Wow.
All right. Do we have, did Mary show up then?
I don't know if she made it yet. But it's your call if you'd like to start. I know that she's attempting to log in.
Yeah, we might as well get started. I think we got enough people anyways to proceed.
Okay.
All right, let's start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. May I have a motion to approve the current agenda?
So moved, Brenda.
Second, Ralph.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Discussion?
Aye.
All right. May I have a motion to approve the minutes of April 8th?
So moved, Brenda.
Second, Patricia.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any nays? No nays. May I have a motion to approve the March Treasurers Report?
So moved, Mary.
Ralph. Second, Ralph.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any nays? All right, we have a public comment.
Yes, so this comment was submitted from Liz McShane, our fifth grade teacher and co-president of the South Seneca Teachers Association. South Seneca CSD should be doing everything possible to promote filling out the 2020 census. An undercount in the 2020 census could affect education in New York for the next 10 years. Here's what's at stake. $550 million in Head Start funds, $1 billion in Title I grants, over $900 million in federal school lunch and school breakfast funds, over $750 million in IDEA grants. In all, around $13 billion in education funding comes from census allocated federal sources. Perhaps a link on the SSCS webpage, half sheets with information on how to fill it out going home with lunches delivered. Notices shared by way of Four Towns and other booster clubs, Facebook, and any other social media accounts. And that's the statement.
Any other discussion by anybody? Comments?
I think it sounds like a good idea. I've already sent mine in to Washington. But that's a very good idea, I think. If we could do it, is it feasible, Steve?
I think it's very feasible. She did send me a lot of materials that I'm trying to compile so that I can get something on the website that looks coherent.
Good.
Good.
Okay. Sounds like we'll keep on working on that and get it out there.
Thanks, Liz.
Thank you, Liz. Moving on to the 2021 budget proposal.
Almost there, Naomi. Are you seeing it now?
No,
No,
Yes.
No, I can
I'm
see
not.
everyone.
no.
Well, I'm seeing it on my computer screen, so that's a little odd.
Okay, hang on a second. Maybe that'll work.
Yes, it's coming on.
Are you
Yes,
seeing it? Are you seeing it
Yes.
now?
Yep,
yes,
Yep.
we have it.
yes.
yes.
There you go.
Okay, thank you. So this is an updated budget presentation, very similar. You'll see some of these slides to last board meeting, but we have revised the tax levy so that want to bring that updated information to the board and to the community. From here, once these decisions are made, we immediately go kind of into full run, doing a budget brochure that then ends up going to the community once a school budget date is established. So this is an important part of the process. So what are the considerations that go into the tax levy decision? Well, mainly two. One, we're addressing the needs of the community, and with the coronavirus and the situation where we have students educated at home, parents who have lost their job, businesses that have been shut down, they have a lot of needs in the community. But it's also necessary for us to maintain a fiscally strong school district in order to be able to continue to educate students and be able to provide a strong school district. So out of the calculated tax cap of 1.61%, and we evolved at that over the whole budget process over the last 5 months, using the various components of the tax cap process. The tax cap of 1.61, the actual levy proposed will be 0.5%, or less than half of that amount, or a little over $41,000 increase to the tax levy. Here is the updated revenue budget, which is just about identical to the slide that was presented last board meeting. You'll notice the total revenue number of $24,687,093 has not changed. The only thing that has changed is to reflect, one, that the taxes have increased to $41,000, or the 0.5%. And the offset of that increase is a decrease to the applied reserves. It was $1,080,000, now it's $1,040,000. Drilling into the reserves, these are the reserves we feel that we would be that would be affected as a result of using reserves. Whether we use reserves or not have a lot to do with whether the state is going to require cutbacks by school districts. And our first measurement period ends on April 30th. So we're expecting to hear very soon where the state lies as far as its expenditures and its revenue, which it has estimated as part of its budget. So the first two reserves, again, are the pension plans that the district contributes to. The unemployment, we do have some results of unemployment, mainly from substitutes or anyone who may have left us over the year. And the last one's a little bit different, a little more complicated. That's the bus reserve. In the event that we do have significant cutbacks from the state, we have an option. Right now, it's in the expenditure budget. It works to the district's favor to pay for buses out of the expenditure budget. But in the event, again, of cutbacks, we have the option to go to the reserve. However, we can't do that without the public's approval, and that's why it's a proposition. We'll get to that slide in a moment.
Naomi, a question?
Yes.
You mentioned that April 30th might be, or perhaps is, the first date on which we would get a word from the state government about changes or reductions. Is that, if that is the case and we get some indication of a reduction, I don't think we're going to get an increase, would we have to re-vote on the budget after that point?
Nope, the board has already approved the original budget. We're talking about the revenue, but the expenditure budget is the same amount and the board approved it. We have, the superintendent and I have put together the budget based on the potential of cutbacks. We've been through this before, and unfortunately, we've been through this before. So we are prepared for this situation.
Thank you.
Mhm. This is just a visual that we saw during the revenue breakdown, again, 2 weeks ago for the board meeting. Not much has changed. Local taxes represent about a third, actually a third, of where our revenue comes from. The New York State aid at 57%. It used to be as high as 62%. And of course, in the event of cutbacks, that number might decrease. The actual expenditure budget, again, was approved by the board. It has not changed. The revenue equals the expenditures, which it must do, of $24,687,093. And that is a 1.1% budget to budget increase over what we are operating under for 1920. Again, no changes in the expenditure budget. This just is reiterating the three-part budget that the state requires from us, showing what portion is towards administration, what part is towards capital, what part is towards program. Just to point out on the middle, the capital, if you look at the fourth line down, 400,000, that's our buses. That's our preference, is to be able to expend through the expenditure budget for our buses. In the event of cutbacks, we have the option to go to the reserve. Again, just a visual representing that 65% of all expenditures goes towards the programming part, the instructional part of the school district's functions, 24% to capital, 11% to administration. This has not changed much, maybe a half or 1% over the last 11 years.
Mhm.
I added the town tax rate. I always add a caveat in there that a lot of the information that goes into establishing tax rate isn't finalized until August. Mainly the assessments, we don't have that finalized. Equalization, the Office of Real Property of the state of New York, they determine those values. So we don't have that information. But if we go under the assumption that not much has changed from the current year and just apply the increase of the tax levy of 0.5%, what would be the impact? And I'm going all the way over to the far right column. What would be the impact on a $100,000 home? Anywhere from $13 to $17 for the year would be the impact. I put down at the bottom the true tax rate because that's under the assumption of 100% equalization, which is just over $14 per thousand. And using that number is how we compare ourselves to other districts because they have different assessments and different equalization. So that's the number we keep as a comparison. Here are those budget propositions that the community will see when the budget is finalized, or at least the budget timeline is finalized. The first proposition there is our budget, expenditure budget that the community will be voting on, $24,687,093. Proposition 2, this is put together by the 3 libraries within the school district, and that we just add that to the tax bills and do the collection for them. Proposition 3, we have 3 board member terms expiring, and therefore there would be 3 open positions that the community and various board candidates who supply the required information to the district clerk can apply for. And here's that last proposition, number 4, which was recently added, the $400,000 to purchase buses. Notice on the last line, we would either use the school bus reserve fund or available budget fund balance, meaning using the expenditure budget. So it gives us the option in the event of district aid cutbacks. Again, we do not have specific dates for the budget vote at this point. Once those are known, the week before will be the budget hearing. This is an opportunity for the community to ask questions and see the budget in its entirety. And that will be held in Ovid in the boardroom, which is also our flex lab, at 7 o'clock. The week afterwards would be the budget vote, preferably sometime in June. And that will be held this year in Interlaken in the elementary auditorium. Any questions? Again, going forward, the idea would be taking this information and then starting to put together the budget brochure that will be going out to the community and supplying that more detailed information for them.
Sounds good. Thank you, Naomi.
Okay. You're welcome.
Moving on to receiving report, superintendent's report.
All right, I'd like to start by thanking board members for working together on determining our tax levy intentions. I know this has been said multiple times in the past, but one more time for the record, the board doesn't officially set the tax levy until the August meeting each year. We look for a decision in April so we can communicate intentions and help to inform the community as they consider their vote. It's very unusual to suggest going out with a levy that is under the tax cap, but mostly because these dollars are so important for us to offer the best program we can. And we recognize that by making the school district stronger, the whole community benefits in countless ways. In good times, we celebrate the achievements of our students, and we love to see their performances, their projects, their accomplishments, and their contests. In hard times, we remember that the school district is often the first line of support for those in crisis, and keeping us funded means we can do a better job helping others stay fed and strong. At the same time, we know that economically, the pandemic has hit our families hard, and by shifting a portion of the financial burden for revenue, even a little bit, away from a tax increase and toward the use of reserves, I think you recognize that keeping a few more dollars at homes can help. I appreciate your thoughtfulness on this issue. On the topic of school funding, there's a big push this week to get New York State public schools on the minds of our federal legislators, as they are the ones in a unique position to offer financial relief for what is certain to be a very difficult time ahead. The governor has already suggested that New York might be forced to withhold as much as 20% of its aid to schools in 2021. And understanding that we are only beginning to see the economic impacts, even this number could be low. At South Seneca, 20% of our foundation aid is between $1 and $2 million. And considering that our costs continue to rise, we'll be forced to plan for the worst. I've shared with you some talking points and the contact information for Tom Reed, Kirsten Gillibrand, and Chuck Schumer, and we know that every contact speaks loudly on our behalf. If some larger portion of the federal stimulus money can be allocated to our public schools, we will be in a better position to help our families, and that goes for every other district as well. Considering that New York is the epicenter of the outbreak in the country, a case can be made that a larger portion of stimulus money comes here, and it could mean all the difference. We'll be sharing these same talking points to the public as well. So for anyone hearing this, every letter, email, or phone call can help. Here at school, we continue to see rising numbers of our families accepting food deliveries, and we're settling into some level of consistency with the teachers' outreach to students at home. With closure now extended at least through May 15th, we know we'll be sending out some narrative teacher feedback to parents at the end of the month, including comment-only report cards for the high school students. Soon after that, in the week of May 11th, high school teachers will provide progress report card number grades for all the credit-bearing courses, so we can assess for sure how our students are doing toward earning those credits. Many schools around the state are going to a pass-fail system for this spring semester, but we've heard from enough of our parents who advocate for a number grade that we'll commit to that. With each new extended closure, we've had to cancel or postpone events, and that's as disappointing as anything else, especially for our senior class. We'll continue to hope that we'll be able to do some of these in some capacity, but only time will tell. Everyone must understand that we will be following the safety guidelines and orders on a statewide level and can only operate under those restrictions. For those particularly worrying about our graduation ceremony, please know that if we can have the ceremony, we'll have it. As of today, it's scheduled for the front lawn of the high school on the morning of June 27th. That hasn't changed yet. Realistically, of course, we've started to brainstorm other options if they become necessary, including possibly spreading everyone out at our track, which has the advantage of a built-in sound system, or even moving the ceremony into July or August if that allows it to go on. I'll repeat what I just said. If we're allowed to have a ceremony, we absolutely will, but we'll just need to see what our restrictions are as it gets closer on the calendar. No word as of today about a new date for the budget vote and the board elections. That will also come by executive order, and we'll spread the word as soon as we hear. We will also be paying attention to any adjustments in the process, which could dictate some new requirements about in-person versus mail-in balloting. For those of you running for election, again, when we hear guidelines about petitions and deadlines, etc., we'll let you know. I'd like to close by once again recognizing all the hard work being done by everyone in the district, from cleaning and building staff, our amazing food service and transportation departments, our computer technology supports, and to instructional staff. We're all feeling the stress of being at home, building new systems, making specific decisions about protective barriers, behaviors when we head out, and not to mention seeing to the mental health of ourselves and everyone else. It's a lot, and we should be proud of what we're getting done. Thank you to everyone for stepping up and supporting each other. That's it for me.
All right, thank you, Steve. We have administrative reports. Does anybody have any questions from the high school or the elementary school?
No.
Nope.
I just
No,
want to say thank you once again to Adam. It was very nice for him to include other departments besides the elementary school. Really appreciate that. And his thoughtfulness of thanking every entity that we could. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Supervisor reports, we'll have next meeting. And then we have board member report. So I put together this consolidated evaluation from our board self-evaluation. So I picked the top 5 questions that had the lowest ratings, and I included the comments that we had talked about. So I removed everybody's names, and these are just the comments that go along with the ratings. So I'm just put this out there for us to kind of reflect on when you guys get a chance to read over that. And probably later on in the summertime, I think it is, we'll be setting our board goals. So this will be an area where we want to focus on is these lower rating categories.
Peter, are you sending this to us, this
the list
I
for 20
can, yes. I can,
Okay.
yeah. Yep.
Good.
All right. Board committee reports.
Buildings and Grounds met on Monday, the 20th. I've written it down to try to keep it a little short, as short as I can. Todd Reynolds, number 1, reported on a matting that has been ordered to see if it would be adequate at the base of the stairway in the stadium, where there is a 1 to 2 inch pooling. A sample should be placed at the end of the week to see if that's going to work. Number 2, Mike reported from Hunt. Everything is good to go to start the process for the building conditions survey. They would need to know if the district is comfortable with them coming into the buildings. They are building a policy themselves and would comply to all guidance from the districts as well. Number 3, Todd reported that Seneca Pipe and Paving will have a quote for us by the end of this week for a sidewalk at the end of the tennis court. They recommended digging it out and use the basins for runoff and paving that area. Number 4, Todd said that we need warmer 50 to 55 degree days to skim coat the stairs at the Interlaken building. The stairs have not been used for quite a time, and it's possible that they can be used more after the repair. As everyone has seen from the posted pictures, the Interlaken gym has had the ceiling, walls, casings, trim, all painted. It looks beautiful. The new dividing screen is installed and operational. The little gym should be worked on by next week. Keys for the proper operating instructions will be given to all members who will have keys to operate the screen. Todd will give the instructions. Number 6, Naomi reported that our next 100,000 capital project the plans for that will be submitted, and she hopes to have it finalized by the end of June. Steve, Naomi, and Todd are also compiling a document of all LED replacements that have been done so far by capital projects. It will show all the areas that have been completed, which are basically at this point a lot of the larger areas, and the remaining areas that are left. This will be a spreadsheet that all can see. The company has been notified about their football goal posts that are in our stadium. The posts are bent. Some people have seen that, and Todd is aware of it and has talked to the manufacturer. Our next meeting is June 15th.
Okay.
Any questions?
Nope. Thank you, Brenda. Moving on to new business. May I have a motion to approve the tenure recommendation of Tom Scalero in the tenure area of secondary math, 7 through 12, effective June 30th, 2020.
So moved, Brenda.
Second, Mary.
Discussion.
Tim?
Hi, folks. This letter serves as my recommendation for Mr. Tom Scalero to receive tenure in our district. Mr. Scalero is a dedicated middle school math teacher working with 7th and 8th graders. Tom is a caring family man and staff member who knows the subject matter, and he conveys that knowledge with passion. Tom is a highly respected colleague. I'm sorry, I thought somebody was saying something. Tom is highly respected by colleagues and students alike. His classroom management is second to none. His command of the subject matter is a very high level, and he is an integral part of Team 7-8. Tom stresses important skills in math. He encourages his students to think of how math affects their daily lives, from personal budgeting to various careers. Tom starts his lesson off with practice, and students discuss how they develop their answers. Tom encourages good student-to-student communication, which includes students presenting and discussing math with the class as a whole and in groups. This year, Tom is teaching high school algebra to our 8th graders. He has taken on the challenge and the students are doing well. During Tom's time with us, he has consistently improved student performance and he shares data with administration, which helps in our efforts to improve math instruction district-wide. I am proud to be a colleague of Tom's. He entered the teaching profession for the right reasons, which includes helping kids achieve success in the classroom and building confidence for further success. For all the reasons I have listed here, I am highly confident in my recommendation of tenure for Tom Scalero. Sincerely, Tim Hausnick.
Thank you, Tim. Moving, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Any nays? All right. Moving on. May I have a motion to approve the tenure recommendation of Peg Vogel in the tenure area of teaching assistant effective June 30th, 2020?
So Mary,
Second, Ralph.
Discussion?
Tim,
This letter serves as my recommendation for Mrs. Margaret Peg Vogel to receive tenure in our district as a teaching assistant. Mrs. Vogel currently runs our Learning Center, which has a mission to help some of our most struggling students. Peg is a retired science teacher who helped to start an alternative school in the Corning district. When Peg started with us, she worked in our alternative classroom. Our personal views on education are similar, and we started working together on some ideas for alternative education. We quickly realized that an alternative classroom that would fit into our culture would be a very beneficial tool for some of our highest need students. Since starting the program, Peg has led the charge in making adjustments that would help the program run within our general framework. Peg's friendly and professional personality has helped her to work effectively with each student she works with. The same style has worked very well in nurturing professional relationships that are helping our program to grow progressively better as we move forward. Peg is one of those people I've met in my career who I'm most proud to work with. Peg did not need to come out of retirement to work with our students and start a new program. She did it because she has a lifelong passion for helping kids. There is no better reason than that for being in this line of work. I proudly recommend Mrs. Peg Vogel for tenure because she is a great example of what makes South Seneca a great place for student welfare and success. She is a role model for students and other professionals, and I am very happy to work side by side with her. Sincerely, Tim Hausnick.
Thank you, Tim. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any nays? All right, moving on. May I have a motion to approve the tenure recommendation of Robin Parzik in the tenure area of Spanish 7 through 12, effective June 30th, 2020?
Someone, Melissa.
Second, Brenda.
Discussion?
Tim,
This letter serves as my recommendation for Miss Robin Parzik to receive tenure in our district. Ms. Parzik is a highly competent and caring Spanish teacher working with 7th and 8th graders. Robin knows her subject matter very well, and she conveys that knowledge with passion and creativeness. Robin is highly respected by colleagues and students alike. Her classroom management is very good, and her technical expertise allows students to have fun and collaborate in their learning of a new language. Robin is a great team member, whether it be for grade level meetings or the Spanish department. She plans conference attendance and builds curriculum collaboratively. Our Spanish department is proof that a small team can have a big impact on quality instruction, and Robin has much to do with that success. Our students are the beneficiaries of her spirit of teamwork. I am very happy with Robin's teaching and her overall ability to work with students effectively. Robin is a great example of how a professional should act. She works very hard to help every student, and she collaborates with colleagues in a friendly and professional manner. Because of all the reasons listed above, I proudly recommend Ms. Robin Parzik for tenure in the South Seneca District. I could not be happier with Robin as a person and as a professional. Sincerely, Tim Hausnick.
Thank you, Tim. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any nays? All right, moving on. May I have a motion to approve the tenure recommendation of Stacy Clark in the tenure area of school district leader effective June 30th, 2020?
So move Mary.
Second.
Second, Ralph.
Discussion?
I am pleased to recommend Stacy Clark for tenure in the area of school district leader. We are truly fortunate to have her as part of our administrative team as she serves in the position of Director of Special Programs. It is difficult in a short statement to describe the full scope of responsibilities and job duties we ask our Director of Special Programs to perform. In addition to supervising our CSE office and special education staff and faculty, Ms. Clark has primary responsibility in keeping the district in compliance with state and federal regulations, as well as managing our complicated special education budget, which includes aspects not comparable to other budgets in our organization. All of this Stacy does almost seamlessly and with incredible efficiency. Moreover, she is a fantastic communicator as she collaborates with me and with BOCES, the regional network, our school attorneys, her colleagues on the administrative team, the board's CSE committee, and the business office. Most important of all, though, is her deep knowledge and care for the students at South Seneca in need of special programs. It is not an exaggeration to say that Ms. Clark knows well each student in her care and family members of each of those students. As she oversees modifications, accommodations, and placements of these students, she makes daily and constant connections with everyone involved, from the students themselves to the providers many miles outside our district boundaries. She travels to these sites, visits students on her personal time if necessary, and works through some of the most difficult situations we face in our district. It is impossible to overstate how much we rely on her expertise and tireless work ethic in her role here, and how lucky we are to have her. From a personal standpoint, I can't overstate how valuable it is to know that Stacy is maximizing our resources, handling the legal challenges of this department, and taking care of our students the way she does. I am familiar enough with the struggles of other districts in this area and the consequences of having someone less skilled or dedicated in this position to fully appreciate how fortunate we are in comparison. I recommend Ms. Clark for tenure without reservation and hope that she will continue to serve the South Seneca community for many years to come.
Thank you, Steve. Thank you, Stacy. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any nays?
Congratulations, Stacy.
Yeah.
Congratulations, everyone.
May I have a motion to approve the 2021 tentative administrative budget of the Tompkins Seneca Tioga Board of Cooperative Education Services in the amount of $4,322,590.
So move Mary.
Second, Melissa.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any nays? All right, moving on. May I have a motion to cast votes for the TST BOCES board candidates as listed to serve 3 years terms ending on June 30th, 2023. They're listed below.
So move, Melissa.
Including
Second,
Mary
Ralph.
Church. Discussion?
Thank you, Mary, for being willing to represent us again.
I'm happy to do it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any nays? May I have a motion to approve the 2021 academic calendar?
So moved, Ralph.
Second, Patricia.
Discussion?
So just some highlights of this calendar with Labor Day starting on September 7th. We'll do our first superintendent's conference day on the previous Thursday, September 3rd. So that allows for a fairly standard calendar throughout, including the winter break, the February break, the April break. We've got one superintendent's conference day in March, and the total number of days meets our target of 181 student days, 185 staff days. The 4 superintendent's conference days count as attendance days for state aid purposes. So it builds in a buffer for us for emergency closings for things like weather.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Any nays? All right, moving on. May I have a motion to approve facilities consulting agreement with WCS Management LLC effective May 1st, 2020 through April 30th, 2021?
So moved, Melissa.
Second, Patricia.
Discussion?
So I want to apologize for omitting this in the memo this past weekend. I meant to write a little bit about this. The original idea came out of one of our strategic planning discussions in the fall, where we talked about some of the challenges of the operations and facilities. Naomi and I have been pursuing that ever since, and we got a strong recommendation from the Dryden School District, who uses this company to create this consulting contract. It's a 1-year contract for $52,500. We get them for 16 hours a week on site. It also has the promise of sort of transitioning us in future years when possibly our facilities director might retire someday. So this is a standard size contract for a consulting agreement. This has also been looked over by our school attorney and recommending approval.
All right.
Will this I guess I need to know, is this going to be one person, and will this person be driving all the way from Windsor every day? When he comes?
So it may or may not be one person, but it'll be people that are currently employees of this company. They will be commuting to us. Yes, that's true. It may actually be a team of people.
And this is just through April 30th.
Correct. It's a 1-year contract.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any nays? All right. I think that's the last item. May I have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
So move, Brenda.
Second,
Second,
Patricia.
Ralph.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any nays? Thank you.
All right. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Good night.
Good night.
Thank you.
Good night.